welcome to the Hearthstone Grandmasters. You just watched the highlights of Eddie and Amnesiac. Eddie takes the series 2-1. And, you know, gotta say, Amnesiac, he's better than that.
Yeah.
He's much better than that. And, I mean, he's a competitor through and through. He's got a lot of real-life responsibilities, as we all know. He's kind of finishing up his graduation in his high school year. But, I mean, if you're going to call yourself, you know, the youngest champion in North American esports history, and you're going to call yourself, you know, the captain of his tennis team and, like, all this other stuff and how he's just, like, a high-level athlete, you got to do your due diligence to the very end. And the thing is, he was, right? He was playing it out when he could have conceded at any point with the inevitability. And yet, at the very final moment, there was a crack in the armor.
Those are the situations. That's why you play out Mechathune Warrior.
Right.
That's why I said earlier that most of the time that I lose with Mechathune Warrior, I beat myself.
We even said, unless there's like some kind of big catastrophic misplay, which Eddie did do, there's no chance for him to win. And he did do that, and that's why he played it out. And then when the opportunity was handed to him, it wasn't on a silver platter because it wasn't very obvious, but it was handed to him on some paper Dixie plate.
Yeah.
It's like, you should take that and eat it. I'm a little disappointed, but I mean, it's only because we all know what he's capable of. And so it looks like his season is pretty much over, but we'll see him come back for season 2. You better pick it up, Amnesia. Or else.
Thanks, Papa Frodan.
All right, going into game number 3 here. Enough about that. Let's move on to his former teammate, Just Sand, who's brought Tempo Rogue, featuring Spirit of the Shark. Snip Snap has made its way into the majority of these rogue lists, given that it's flexible, and it seems that's a pretty powerful card.
Yeah, pretty powerful card. It also, quote-unquote, activates that secondary deck with Coppertail Imposter, the War Gear, and the Karen Bloodhoof, which specifically designed with Warriors in mind, I do believe. It gives the Rogue much more of a mid-game punch. Just kind of very difficult for them to get the ball rolling. And I like that variation. We've seen a lot of Rogue players or a lot of players that brought Rogue this week making that adjustment in one of their anti-warrior decks, so to speak.
Yep. In the meantime, Race as his control warrior. We mentioned that him, Monsanto, and Eddie all practiced together, and they just so happened to be matches 1, 2, and 3. It wasn't scheduled that way, and they had the same text. The secondary deck against other warriors, which I don't imagine that's going to come out whatsoever. Tertiary deck against mages. So his main deck is going to be his best deck against the rogue, but still has a couple of dicey decisions. Archivist Elysiana is not going to be very effective against the Tempo Rogue.
Yep.
Same thing with Omega Summons.
But I honestly don't think Just Saying was expecting the Control Warrior to come out this week. And honestly, I don't think Race, Monsanto, and Eddie were expecting to bring Control Warrior this week, judging by the conversations we've had with Eddie and Monsanto, where they said they just were practicing Bomb Warrior nonstop and then said, what if we brought Control Warrior? And then just decided to bring it.
Yeah, it happens fairly often. Oh, that's a nice draw here for a turning rover on turn 1. It's very nice. It actually it happens a fair amount of time in practice when you guys have, you know, I lined up like 90% set. And the very last second, with 24 hours to go or less, you think of a very crazy, brilliant idea that you didn't think about before. And because it's new and you don't have a lot of time to disprove it, you kind of latch onto it and think, you know what, this actually is hard to, this might be good because it's hard to disprove that this isn't like the right strategy. And that's how it baits you, TJ. Because
9 out of 10 times, it falls flat.
Yeah, you don't really get time to really poke enough holes in it. And as a result, you get blinded by the idea that this random last stroke of brilliance is the correct thing to do.
9 out of 10 times, you're frozen in the 2016 last call qualifier for the World Championship.
You know, and I still defend that decision, that lineup, because I felt like on paper it still made sense.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was a pretty brutal bracket. I believe we played a top 8 single elimination.
Top 8 single elim. And
that happens.
For everybody unaware, Frozen in that tournament, 8 players, the top 8 point earners for the year in 2016.
Right.
Played in a single elimination where one spot, so the winner of that bracket, went on to the World Championship for the year Frozen, knowing that Warrior was a very popular class in the metagame, Control Warrior, built a conquest strategy to target specifically Warrior with some crazy decks that we hadn't really seen before. And the thing about conquest, if you go for a hard target strategy, you need to have like an 80 to 90% win rate against a specific deck, assuming that you're auto lose against everything else, which Frozen pretty much was.
Right. And did not panic.
He did not, he did not win.
Oh. Nice pickup here for Saiyan, because now he has the opportunity to use Evil Miscreant on curve. I mean, he is concerned about the Militia Commander on the Hench Clan Thug, but he does have a backup option to that too. In fact, he can Hench Clan Thug, Spear of the Shark, and then Evil Miscreant for maximum lackeys, which also isn't bad. But if he does go for that, he's weak to Dynamatic. So the Coin Spear of the Shark is the acknowledgement of that, and that's why that backside pickup is really important.
Yep.
Because now he has a way to activate the Evil Miscreant.
It also kind of forces a dead turn for Race. The Coin Spear of the Shark is good for like multiple ways, and Dynamatic, like you said, it dodges it. But also the turn 4 plays that Warrior wants to make are, well, in Bomb Warrior, it's Militia Commander and Wrench Caliber.
Right.
In Control Warrior, I guess it's just Militia Commander. Sometimes Acolyte of Pain off curve if you had to play another 3-drop on turn 3. But it just forces awkward plays. It forces everything to be off curve slightly.
Yep.
Job's done.
Now this Evil Miscreant could do some big damage. A second Miscreant. Interesting. I mean, the Miscreant also gives Saiyan an opportunity to use the Lackey immediately to maybe even do more damage. Perhaps summon extra 2-drops so that Dynamatic gets worse. Goblin Lackey is also not too bad. Even the Witchy Lackey to evolve twice is really strong too.
Just gonna go with...
Oh! I was like 2-7 to 2-6, but Security Rover is problematic for Race to deal with.
Yeah.
That extra health. That buff from the Rise of the Mech events, TJ.
But he could have had the Fest Root Hulk, Dan.
He would have, it got buffed for this very moment, so that Rogue can be better against Warrior.
Wow.
I wonder.
It's really annoying for Race.
That is exceptionally annoying.
I mean, maybe you ignore it. You just like Militia Commander the 1/4 instead, and you trade it to the Witchy Lackey with the Town Crier. Totally reasonable as well. I mean, and in the end, no matter how big the board gets, he has Brawl and Warpath. It's just that Warpath is a lot worse when you have Security Rover on the other side.
It sure is.
If he goes to this Militia Commander,
Defend the gates.
what does Saiyan do in response? Well, he definitely wants to collect value off the Security Rover to start. That's my first inclination. He has room to Evil Miscreant as well.
He could also Myra's here to draw 2 cards.
5 mana, draw 2 cards. And destroy your deck. I remember when people used to think like, oh, you can just play like Mechathune Rogue and just like Myra's and do just other stuff.
You just Myra's and then Mechathune is discarded, and then what's your deck?
Well, it was actually pretty cheesy. I lost it one time because prep was still reduced by 3, so you'd play like Galvanizer, Mechathune, prep Walt to Plank or something like that after you kill your own minions. It was like just something that caught me so off guard that I was not prepared.
Choose soon.
I'm not gonna say it.
I am definitely in the camp of buff Illidan. He's way too iconic, and he also did nothing wrong.
I don't know if you know much about the Warcraft lore there, Dan. That is heavily debatable.
Look, I've read like 2 Reddit threads on this topic, and I'm reading only the headline.
All right.
And I'm pretty sure I am informed enough to make a decision like that.
Well, Dan, I lived it. I was there.
Okay, I believe you. So Race can now take out the Hench Clan Thug or the Security Rover. Actually, you can take out both with an Execute here.
What now?
I don't hate the Execute use. Because
It's a weird target to execute.
it is. But if you don't take it out, your opponent's just going to collect even more value off of it and force you to drag out more resources into this game. Unfortunately, does not get to answer the Hench Clan Thug.
Justin just has so much stuff to do. Like, I look at this hand and my brain just can't even function.
Well, he has a ton of options, that's for sure. So the first thing he wants to do, I think, is to dagger. He wants to keep this this Hench Clan Thug pumped to the skies, but that only gives him 4 mana remaining. Not much flexibility on things like the Life Drinkers. So I guess maybe he can go for a Goblin Lackey setup, because that does clear everything.
And then dagger up.
Yes.
And this also means that he doesn't have to trade in the Hench Clan Thug, which means that he plays around Warpath.
Yes, plays on Warpath, plays around Dynamatic. Looks good. It doesn't play around Dynamatic and Warpath. But your opponent's using 2 resources at that point.
Yep. And not the greatest hand for Race here.
Yeah.
His best option for removal is to like pull the trigger on the Brawl now and take the 66.
I'm almost
Yeah.
tempted to just Acolyte and draw with the Warpath
Jeez.
in this position, because I think Race is going to look for better answers to take down this Hench Clan Thug. Weapons Project.
Well, Weapons Project's good because Sane does have 2 Waggle Picks in the deck. It's just, will he ever spend the mana to play those unless he has to? That's the big question.
Right. Life Drinker, Evil Miscreant here look really nice and clean at first glance.
Especially after seeing a Warpath.
Right.
Maybe he wants to take it a little bit easier and go for like Evil Cable Rat, Evil Miscreant.
Gives him 3 lackeys, and I think the highest impact lackeys are the Evolve lackeys, or the Ethereal ones. But I think the Life Drinkers are just fairly clunky now that you have 2 of them in your hand.
No, I agree.
Ethereal Lackey, Witchy Lackey. Witchy Lackey doesn't look terribly impressive right now, but it adds a lot of potency to some of Saiyan's minions on the board, because the 1/4 becomes threatening later on. And that is actually fairly important, given that Saiyan has a lot of tricks to do, right? Backstab, Ethereal Lackey, and like all this other stuff, but he actually needs substance. He needs a minion hitting face a lot. And we anticipate that this Hench Clan Thug is going to go down. But as it turns out, if it does go down, it actually costs Race a little bit, right? He has to either Weapons Project Ziliax, or he has to Omega Assembly and find like a very cheap minion, or he has to Brawl. And the Brawl could also still go horribly wrong.
Yep. Hench Clan Thug wins that Brawl, then he's in trub.
Trub.
Unity, precision, perfection.
Speak to me.
Willingly accepting the Hench Clan Thug damage. This is actually the longest I've seen Hench Clan Thug survive in a long time, TJ.
Yeah, the thing about it also is Race had the opportunity to go for like a Mega Devastator plus Ziliax next turn to deal with that Hench Clan Thug no matter what.
Oh, interesting. These are all viable options. The unidentified contract.
Oh, it's the lucrative contract.
Oh, it kills and gives 2 coins to his hand.
Yep, and gets to backstab Ziliax and could coin out the dagger.
Look at Raze's face.
That's OP.
Raze's face. He doesn't even understand what's happening.
Where did it all go wrong?
He's rethinking all of his life choices from the day he decided to submit Warrior and goes up against Rogue.
And it feels like Saiyan hasn't even used resources. It feels like he has played 2 Evil Miscreants and a Spear of the Shark and a Hench Clan Thug, and that's it.
It's the record scratch. You're probably wondering how I got here. Needs one more turn. I mean, he's not in an unwinnable position. It's just that it's getting harder and harder with each passing turn, and
Yeah.
this Hench Clan Thug is ramping up.
What now?
Going for the shield slam.
Looking for a shield slam.
Rover. Shield slam.
Ooh, nailed it.
Nice. I mean, it was a pretty likely chance. There was, what, 13 cards in the deck, and he drew 3 cards, and there's 2 copies of shield slam.
Yeah. But a nice recognition there.
Yes, and I think that's the kind of place he needed in order to come back in.
Yeah. Now for saying it's about, what is my hand telling me? It's telling me to make a big Edwin. That's what I think it's telling me.
Yeah, your opponent just had a difficult time dealing with it, but the Iron Beak Owl is ready to go. Cold Blood. All right. Now we're talking. Cold Blood with Edwin Van Cleef. I mean, that just sets up a lot of threats. In fact, he can Cold Blood the 1/4. Oh, he's going to evolve it? Okay.
I might save Cold Blood for Leroy.
What?
Whoa!
Whoa, this is so weird now.
Oh, jeez. What do you do?
Choose soon.
Well, you definitely play a big Edwin of some sort.
Is Eviscerate Life Drinker Coin Edwin? Coin is you don't need the mana.
Yeah, I like it. I think your opponent has to have the Iron Beak Owl.
Or Brawl.
He does have. And now Race.
Yep. Summoning Portal. Mousing over it for those of you who have never seen the card before.
Right. It's a 4-mana 0/4. Summoning Portal. It belongs to the Warlock class, which most people don't really use it for. But there was this one really fun, cheesy deck you could have played with Leroy Jenkins
What now?
and Glinda Crowskin, the legendary minion from the Witchwood, which gives all your minions Echo. So you discount every Leroy to 1 mana, and you have Glinda on the board, and you play Leroy's for 1 mana.
You have to have 2 Summoning Portal stick.
Yeah. Like I said, super cheesy,
Yeah.
but it's very fun to play. And with this Dynamatic, I mean, Satan was hoping the 12-12 would survive, but we knew that there was no chance that he had a board sticking here, no matter
Yep.
what. And now Satan has to rely on, well, Myra's bail him out here.
Yep.
Snip Snap?
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, imagine the Summoning Portal survived. Oh my goodness. Snip Snap would have just went off, TJ.
He could have magnetized it 11 times. Because he has the coin. It could have been a 22-33 Sim Snap.
Dude.
And then been promptly
Now
owled.
that is nuts. Oh man. I'm like sad that that was just an opportunity to see it. Wow,
Ooh.
Warpath.
Yeah, that's the face from Reyes. That's the, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, look at how deep Race has drawn to his deck compared to Sand. He's drawn 8 more cards than his opponent. Just goes to show you how important it is to have those draw cards if you are a control deck. And I think Sans recognized that he's been largely phased out. He needs some miracles to happen.
He needs both Shadow Steps from the Smyras and both Waggle Picks.
Yeah. I mean, he can dump his hand and then play Myra's. It seems reasonable. Leroy Coldblood SI.
I think he needs the Leroy. Oh, no. He could Leroy Coldblood SI, yeah, you're right. And then he would be almost guaranteed to pick up a Shadow Step at that point. And then you Shadow Step the Leroy. Actually,
This guy's toast.
no, you couldn't do that because you wouldn't have the mana for the Myers. I don't know what I'm thinking. Well, picked up pretty much all of his burn except for the second Waggle pick. That's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, with Harrison, with Weapons Project used, he has to hope that Waggle Pick gets there. He has a lot of life to play with too, thanks to the Weapons Project.
Weapon removal left for Race. He does have one Weapons Project left in the deck.
So he has Leroy, Shadow Step, that's 18. He has 4 from the Eviscerate. Alright, we're just gonna ditch that and start counting again. So Leroy and 2 Shadow Steps, that's 18, plus a Cold Blood is 22. Waggle Pick adds another 8. That would be 30 damage.
Oh, but that's not gonna happen.
Ziliax! Yeah, Race should not play as Ziliax right now. Plus, he even has Security Rover. And the Weapons Project showed them the Waggle Pick. This looks like it's lights out. Good effort here, but Race has so much. He has everything. And he's trying to figure out what's the best combination of cards to play so he doesn't throw the game away. In which case, factoring in what possible cards and threats Saiyan can have, but he does need to play a mech of some sort here. I don't think this Time Crier draws anything.
Nope. Okay, let's see here. Trying to get the mana out of the way.
Yep, trying to go for the maximum damage, but Race has this covered very easily. Weapons Project, Dr. Boom Mad Genius, that alone shuts everything down.
Oh, jeez. I mean, he could go for Armor Up plus Ziliax onto the face, and then next turn, Dr. Boom Mad Genius. That's game. Saiyan concedes. Race takes game 1, despite Saiyan attacking very many times with the Hench Clan Thug early game. It looked like he was picking up the pieces he needed.
Yeah,
But the thing about Control Warrior as opposed to Bomb Warrior is you don't have a lot of just kind of dead minions in your deck. It's a lot of removal. A lot of removal.
And that's how you usually beat the Rogue as the Warrior. You just remove everything that they have. So Control Warrior seemed to be very effective against the Rogues. And the way the Rogues can beat the Control Warriors to go way over the top that they don't have enough removal to beat everything. And Saiyan never really got everything going, even though he had a pretty decent curve, right? He had the Shark early. He had the lackeys and whatnot. Was able to get a decent amount of pressure. Even had things to make it inconvenient. But Race stayed calm. Even though it looked a little bit distraught on camera. And more importantly, played to certain things like the Harrison and the Weapons Project, which are 2 of his weapon removal options, and trying to draw into that shield slam. And recognizing that in that moment, even though those are tools that you want to use in other situations, was really crucial to winning that game.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I think it's going to come down to the swap-ups. Whereas Saiyan will swap up, and I don't believe Race will, based on how his decks are concluded. So the question is, will just Saiyan's secondary deck be the difference maker?
We'll find out. We're going to take a break, and we'll tell you all about what's changing for Game Room 2. Don't go anywhere. More HSGM right after this.
Welcome to this edition of Around the Fern with TJ and Just Saiyan.
Happy to be here.
Glad to hear it. So I've talked to this about you before. I've never heard you exclaim. So we have an hour in this room, and my goal is going to be to get you to exclaim.
That's just not going to happen.
It is going to happen. Imagine you're walking down the street. You just got lunch. It's a delicious burrito. You're hungry. You haven't eaten in 2 days. Then some guy walks up on the street, punches you in the face, and steals your burrito. You're out of money. You don't have cash. You didn't drive there. You walked there an hour. And now this guy comes up and punches you and steals your burrito. How do you react?
I don't even like burritos. I thank the guy and say, whatever. I was waiting for
What's your
Uber Eats
favorite
anyway.
food?
I mean, it has to be something with rice, but like, I kind of like risotto. The Italian style is very nice.
Italian style risotto. Now imagine you're walking down the street, you get your Italian risotto, and then a guy comes up to you, punches you in the face, and steals your risotto. What do you do?
Actually, I just
Do you yell? Do you
I
scream?
get confused. I'm mad.
You're mad, so you
But-
want to yell.
But then I think this guy probably needs it more than me. I don't think it's physically
Let's say you're in a
possible for me.
giant field and you're strapped to a chair. The only person that can save you is 1,000 yards away. If you don't yell to them to communicate to them, you're going to sit in that chair forever because that's the only other person on earth. Do you yell to them to save your life?
I mean, if he's the only other person on Earth, do I like this guy? Are we friends even?
He's blind.
I just admit that this is the end. Last person on Earth. I don't know about, like, is his personality nice? Like, is he fun to hang out with? Or
Can we play a game?
yeah, we can play
I'm
games.
going to say a word, and you have to say it slightly louder. Risotto. 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 Risotto.
Risotto.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters with Frodan and around the third host, TJ. Well done.
We said there was more coming early on in the broadcast.
I did not
we
know
were
it was
not
coming
lying.
right there.
Me
and
neither.
then, and I did not know what was the content.
Yeah,
of
Dan and
what you
I
were saying.
get very little breaks out Grandmasters. The couple times that we pan away the camera, we have like 3 minutes to do whatever. We usually cherish those 3 minutes and do whatever we need to do. We
Right.
sat there and watched the whole thing because we had no idea that was coming in today. But
That was fun, man.
glad it did.
Yeah. Do you feel like that accurately described the hour of filming you had was saying?
It was almost an hour. It was 50 minutes of filming, and pretty much the entire interview was me giving scenarios to say. And there was one time where like Muzzy got kidnapped, and he was like chained up on a tower or something.
Yeah.
And the only way that it was like a voice activated machine, Muzzy was slowly being dropped into a shredder. It was, I don't know. There was
Wow.
a lot of, it got dark.
Yes.
He never yelled. He never yelled. It was insane.
Yeah, he's not just shouting. Oh man, he should have said that. It's like, my name's not just shouting.
Very calm guy. Very calm guy. Sometimes too calm.
Very composed. We have the Coppertail Imposter Wargear Snip Snap combination coming in here. The secondary deck from Saiyan has 2 of these Imposters, 2 of these Wargears, and a Karen Bloodhoof. And he's taken out Backstab, Prep, Sap, SI7 Agent, pretty much the good cards from Classic Set, and a Life Drinker to put in these mech cards. Now, if he was going up against, say, Amnesiac, who had Emp Operative and a bunch of other anti-mech cards, disastrous possibly, but I don't think Raze is prepared for this.
Yeah, I mean, this is a very similar to matchup of a matchup for Game 1. It's just Saiyan has additional tools to win the matchup, and Raze is operating with the same amount. So you'd think that just saying would gain an edge. Now he still has double waggle pick while Race has triple weapon removal. He still is vulnerable to big sweeping board clears. Those things are still there. Race's game plan doesn't change; it just gets slightly harder since he knows that Zane's going to switch over. So let's see how it pans out. Game 2. Big win for Race because he's close to that playoff. I think Saiyan, if he wins out here, would go 8-6, which does give him a chance. So
Yes.
not completely eliminated,
He's
but
in it, but
he needs to win out.
he needs
from
to
here,
win out.
essentially.
And anybody that goes 4-7 means their best opportunity is to go 7-7, which is unlikely to make the playoffs.
Problem with Evil Cable Rat here is that there is double Accolade Pain on Race's end. If he plays Evil Cable Rat and Race followed up with Coin Accolade Pain, he would be giving at least 2 draws of Accolade Pain. So that's what I think he's thinking about here.
It also sets up for a better post-Shark turn, so you can play Shark and then Evil Cable Rat Van Cleave. Van Cleave only goes to a 6-6, but you still get double Lackey. And I mean, maybe you even do other stuff. You Evil Cable Rat and then double Lackey Van Cleave afterwards. There's just a lot of possibilities.
Yep.
I don't think you need to rush it.
And I think Spirit of the Shark, because Saiyan's not on Coin, he can't really play Spirit of Shark on 4 because of the threat of Coin Dynamatic.
Yeah, you're right.
So this is like a very slow hand for Saiyan, where he doesn't really start doing anything until, turn 6, turn 7.
Probably hoping for a Hench Clan Thug in this spot.
Yeah.
Second
Oh, jeez. I bet Saiyan really wants to exclaim right now.
Risotto.
I should have asked him. Imagine, you're in week 7 or week 6 of Grandmasters. You're 4-6. You have to win to get to the playoffs. You draw the second Spear of the Shark, a dead card. Do you exclaim?
Yeah, I don't know. Like he could set up the Evil Cable Rat.
I kind of want to now. Otherwise, you're not doing anything.
It's the same thing though. If Acolytes gets played on curve.
But maybe you get Faceless Lackey and can develop a board that maybe protects your Spear of the Shark. Like that's kind of where I'm thinking, right? If you take it too slow,
Right.
Race has all this time to pick up resources. It's like when is the point where you take the risk? And saying things, not now.
Oh, Spear of Shark Shadow Step.
Or just Spear the Shark because it doesn't die to Dynamatic.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's true because of the Acolyte. Yeah.
It is a 50-50. Now, it's not a huge downside. Well, I guess it is a huge downside. He draws 2 cards. He either draws 2 cards, kills Spear the Shark, or draws 3 cards and doesn't kill Spear the Shark.
What now?
And with second Spear of the Shark, you can, if this one doesn't die, you play the second one, Shadow Step that, and then go
Right.
for like big Van Cleave.
Yes.
I wonder.
This is very scary for Race. The Shark surviving could be a massive punish, but he doesn't have that many alternatives. He could save his coin for a triple Warpath on the following turn, but that's kind of the same thing either way, right? If he plays Dynamatic.
I think you got to go for the Coin Dynamatic here.
Oh,
Oh.
man.
Oh,
Saiyan
saying,
doesn't even want to look away.
woo!
Oh.
All right.
Oh, it's so slow and
Oh,
drawn down.
all right. Oh, nailed it.
Yeah. And Saiyan, of course, unhappy to say the least. Oh, picks up the Coppertail Imposter.
If he had picked it up last turn, that would have been the ideal play.
Yeah,
Because there would have been nothing that answered it on board.
absolutely.
So many.
That's what it's in the deck for. I mean, it's to beat the Warriors. They can't Dynamatic it. It tells you have War Gear and Snip Snap in the deck to magnetize on. He's going to have to play it this turn, but not ideal.
Man, it seems like Warriors just cleaning up everything today, and things are just panning out really nicely here. Sand does not have much else to play from the hands about this attack with the dagger.
Choose soon.
I don't know if there's too much to be gained by giving your opponent an extra card in this spot. So I do like the pass. Race picks up his Brawl, and now he has card draw to back it up. Again, you know, we're talking about Control Warrior drawing so many cards, 3 cards deeper than Saiyan right now, and drawing another card. It's just all card draw and removal. Sure, throwing a 4-5. Pressure the Rogue. Basically, they fell too far behind early on. As a War Gear. That's actually pretty interesting.
It is interesting, but all these plays are just one turn off from being super good. If you had drawn the Coppertail plus on 4 and working on 5.
Right.
But now it can get double lackeys, can Shadow Step the Shark, and then go for the Big Edwin next turn.
I like it.
I can dig it. Or, he doesn't have to... no, it's vulnerable to Warpath. I think you gotta step it here. Oh, okay.
More lackeys.
Yeah.
He's not confident in the ability for the Edwin Van Cleef to survive.
Well, if Race Warpaths, then he's damaging his own board as well. So I think that's where it comes in.
That's true. Assuming Dynamatic
Second Dynamatic.
Out either.
And with all those cards drawn, Souls have picked up Ziliax, so gets another draw.
I mean, at this point, Race is just out-tempoing Saiyan. He's playing Bomb Warrior without any of the bombs.
From nothing.
Vanish.
Nah, head crack. Start
Eviscerate.
chipping away.
Well, I'm trying to look at what Vanish does right now because he has 6 mana. It actually kills everything except the Omega Devastator. So you do actually remove. It's like better than Eviscerate in terms of its effective
So
removal. But
many.
Yeah, I guess you get to pull back Ethereal Lackey too. That's not terrible.
sure. So the Omega Devastator comes back in hand. You might burn Dr. Boom Mad Genius too.
Ah, true.
Alright, so one less removal tool. Every little bit might help.
Yeah, Saiyan could pick up a lot of gas from the use of Ethereal Lackeys
Yeah.
over and over again.
It's the farewell tour before the Hall of Fame makes another stop into the Rogue Arsenal.
Yep.
I wonder.
I just want him to Ethereal Lackey Vanish, Ethereal Lackey Vanish, to keep his board full. Or handful, rather. Dr. Oh, dude, he was one card off.
One card off.
That would have been nutty.
We saw Reyes lose to Monsanto. I think it was in week 3, the Holy Wrath Paladin week, because he burned Shirvala.
Yeah. It's definitely a battle of resources here, but also Sand can't fall too far behind on tempo, and Dr. Boom Mad Genius is going to give Race that tempo.
Nothing.
Sap! He can do it again! Looks like he's going for the Van Cleef.
Oh.
Ooh, interesting stuff. You could justify almost any of these. Pickpocket for the extra resources. Henge Clan Thug, Prep. Eviscerate.
Smack.
Mr.
And drop
Van
the Cleave.
Cleef. Saw Shield Slam already burned. Less removal options. Race, of course, has many ways to deal with this. He has Iron Beak Owl and Warpath. He has, well, not like that combination, but he also has Brawl. He has Brawl and Iron Beak Owl in the worst case scenario. He can also Science first and then Brawl to increase the chances that something bad survives and not the Henge Clan Thug.
What now?
I think with 2 Brawls being used and your opponent dumping half their hand, you're okay with parting ways with the Brawl here.
Yeah.
I think it's if you want to silence first or you want to Brawl. If you silence first, there is a punish for the Henge Clan Thug surviving versus if you Brawl, The worst thing that happens is the hand scan survives and you silence this at 3-3. Oh man. Okay.
Oh, okay. Mush Commander.
Yeah, that works too. You do give your opponents ability to do some pretty big plays if they have another spell that can punish us, like Daring Escape or Vanish.
Or Vader.
Yeah, those are like
Or
opportunities.
Oh, Red Band Wasp.
Cool. Works. The nice thing too about Saiyan draining his own life is that he's not worried too much about the bomb situation.
You are not fit to rule the Horde.
Well, I mean, Warpath doesn't clear everything. So I think that was Race's plan, saying, you know what? I'm okay with taking a little bit of damage because I got the Warpath, but the Cairn, very resilient.
Look at his hand.
I mean, Race kind of wishes he had the Militia Commander now, but he's going to go for the Dr. Boom Mad Genius. Oh, picks up a Zap Cannon. That's kind of nice to take down this 4-1.
Yeah, Kaboom and Microbots would have been the ideal pickup, I think, but Kaboom especially softens everything up for Warpath.
There's a couple of, the other hero powers would have also done a lot nothing, like Blast Shield or something.
Yeah, Blast Shield. Zap's kind of a nice middle ground, allows him to take some power up the board.
Dude, I wonder how big this pickpocket can be for Saiyan if he wants to reload.
Pick up his own Dr. Boom Mad Genius. Pick up a bunch of bomb cards and Blastmaster Boom.
Yep. Sounds good.
Could pick up a lot of dumb stuff, like Shield Slams. Heavy Metal.
I wonder if Race really wants to not use his hero power here. You could use Warpath instead, get 2 more lives, not that big of a consequence. It's a Heist Baron Togwoggle for Saiyan.
Ooh.
With no sharks.
No sharks left. He could hold off for Shadow Step to try and get additional value. He could go for Wondrous Wand this turn, draw 3, try and pick up the second Shadow Step. He has 1 left.
I like it. I like it. He knows that both brawls are in the are still up and available, so he wants to try and match the resource count. Ooh,
I hope you like my invention.
0 mana Stitch Snap. Well then. Does he want a Witchy Lackey and just go all in here? I think so, I guess.
Oh no! Oh no!
Too soon.
Oh jeez.
That was the worst punish.
Well, it does make him stronger against Brawl.
Yes, you're absolutely right, it does.
But weaker against literally everything else.
Well, incidentally, Race only has stuff that's good against wide boards. So he's gonna hope for the Omega Assembly instead. Oh man, alright.
Oh yeah.
The Mega Devastator. So, and we also know that if even if Saiyan had the wide board, Race had the clear with the Warpaths, and most likely this combination, right? But it is icing on the cake that he gets to save this extra Warpath, and things are not looking good for Saiyan.
Yep. Gets to Weapons Project, back to Cairn as well.
Yep.
I actually wonder if, yeah, I guess you want to get rid of the Weapons Project period. You know, he has like the opportunity to trade over this Cairn, get the Bane out, but maybe you Weapons Project back to Bane. Yeah, that works. Last shield back up to a comfortable 38. Still a lot of gas left for Saiyan, though he's running on not too much life himself, and Race just has so many resources to deal with everything.
Right. Yeah, that might be the big thing. Maybe Saiyan has enough resources to go toe-to-toe, but maybe doesn't have enough life total long term. Either way, Snips that for 0 mana. Can be played 4 times this turn.
Yeah. You seen Iron Big Owl as well?
Yep, he also saw Omega Devastator off the Omega Assembly, implying that his removal options are for single target are limited, because normally you don't want to play what's in the Omega Assembly. You'd rather play the natural copy in your hand to keep the mystery up. Harrison Jones, but he already has cards in his hand. Perhaps instead he's just going to Brawl and Warpath this. Still no guarantee that he's able to clear the board, though.
No. But he can definitely fight back. He still has removal left in the deck if he wants to go for Harrison, but I don't know how aggressively he wants to draw. He's got a Shield Slam and next one still left in the deck.
Okay.
Unity, precision,
Yeah, I like Race not panicking. He's holding on to these Brawls and Warpaths for dear life. Dude, the armor and life gain is just absurd. 46 life. With more coming. All right. So Saiyan now can stack this war gear on and clear the board.
And hope that this massive battle crab
Yeah, it's a battle crab.
survives and can hit a lot.
Okay, Faceless Lackey. Probably one of the weakest ones here, if not the weakest. I think saying,
There's a Doomsayer in this face. He's lucky.
oh,
Close.
oh, Mana Reservoir actually makes this Eviscerate better. And that actually ends up being semi-relevant in this position.
Yeah, and the healing is essentially negated. It also makes Brawl stronger by being able to clear this way. And it can start chipping away at the life total. That's a 9 damage.
Chipping away. Yeah.
Chipping away 9 at a time, but still needs like 6 attacks.
And actually, conveniently, look what actually ends up happening. He just Shield Slam trades and kaboom. That's enough.
Huh.
In fact, I think Dynamatic is a full board clear here,
It is.
too.
Shield Slam, trade over, Eternium Rover, kaboom, and Dynamatic.
Oh, he can use the Faithful Lumi as well. instead
Yeah,
as
he
the
rushes that in.
rusher.
It gets to even keep around the Eternium Rover. And he can rush. He doesn't even have to use Dynamatic. Not that saving it's a huge deal, but he knows there's a Bane in hand. So, like, that's a good card to be able to use it on.
Yeah, push 2 damage to the face. I like it.
Yeah, this is... it was the beginning of the end a while ago for Saiyan. He's managed to kind of find ways to hold on. This Pickpocket, he was hoping he was going to get a ton of value out of it, but there's just not a combination of cards that I could even imagine that would get him out of this situation.
I do think that it requires a lot of improbable
So
combination of
many
cards, but
options.
I do think that Face is running into a resource issue. Dimensional Ripper. Rocket Boot?
Rocket Boots.
I think one thing that actually be really important is Sweeping Strike. Because if he picks up Ziliax with the Vicious Scrap Hound, that's like a 40-point life swing. I'm not even exaggerating.
Sweeping Strikes, Vicious Scrap Hound,
And
Ziliax.
Ziliax, yeah. What it does is it attacks 3 ways, and you gain 15 life each. And you have to...
Wow.
Not 15 life total, because it's 5 damage. Oh, no, but it's like you stack the armor and the life.
You stack the armor and the life.
I'm telling you, it is ridiculous. I saw it
So
one
it is
time.
30 health. It's a 30 health
Yeah,
swing, assuming
for
you have,
for one swing.
assuming you're at 15 life or lower.
Yeah, and then you go for another one where they have to trade through and you get all the extra armor. It's actually insane. But looks like Zane's just gonna die beforehand. Unless he picks it up now. Ziliax has to come right here, right now. Oh, he can summon 2 copies of Ziliax with the Dimensional Ripper.
Huh.
He doesn't have that many cards left in his deck. He's got 9 remaining, but he has also some other junk like Novice Engineer and stuff.
Evil Miscreant.
Stands alive at 1 HP right now.
Yep.
Grim Reaver. All right. Looking bad for our risotto man. Still needs that Ziliax. I'm telling you, if he picked up that Sweeping Strike, I think that would actually be almost game-winning in that spot.
Well, he's still losing fatigue, but...
You think so?
I think he has Elysiana in his deck. So, it'd still be rough, but it would be cool.
Preparation. Stolen Steel.
Anything? Nope. Sane concedes, race 2-0 in the series. Moves up to 7-4 in Grandmasters.
That's right, and cements his 3rd place spot in the division. And a big win for Race, given that he was also tied with Purple. So now, at best, Purple can only tie him. It's that spot for the 3rd place in the playoffs that will ultimately determine who is going to the global finals.
Yeah, and Race had a rough start in Grandmasters. I think he was 2-4 at the end of week 3, not where he'd want to be. But since then, has just won every series, I think. He's on a five-match winning streak. And that means also that their practice group with Raze and Eddie and Monsanto
all went 3-0.
Yeah, they're 3-0 across the Control Warrior players throughout the week. So pretty cool to see that as well, winning in 3 different matchups against Bomb Warrior, Cycle Mage, and the Temple Rogue from Saiyan. So Control Warrior being tested this week and coming out on top.
It beat everything, which makes us reevaluate maybe what was the deck to bring based off of this week's results. Go ahead and check in with Race. Fresh off of his victory. Race, you there?
Hey guys, what's up?
Not much, man. How are you feeling right now, given that you're on an insane winning streak? You're firmly in 3rd place.
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. First of all, I would like to thank my friend Leandro Leal. It's a Brazilian player. I practiced a lot with him today and yesterday to improve this matchup, and it was like really helpful.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to the friends. So, Race, talk to me a little bit about your part of the insight, because we heard from Monsanto, we heard from Eddie a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about why you felt very confident in Control Warrior this week.
Yeah, we were thinking about what to bring this week, and then I suggested Control Warrior. Then Eddie was really afraid of Frozen bringing Pogo Rogue, because Frozen was like streaming all week with Pogo Rogue. But yeah, Control Warrior have a lot of good matchups, especially like Rogue. And we all 3 said, oh, let's go, no Pogos, and 3 wins for us today. Really nice to see that.
Nice. Do you have any questions for Race?
Just nice, and look at me.
I mean, it's pretty straightforward from based off what they described.
Yeah.
Do you feel like Control Warrior is only good because people aren't expecting it, or do you think that based off how the meta has evolved, it's once again very good, like the beginning of the expansion?
No, Control Warrior is very targetable with some tech cards, but yeah, no one is expecting it, so it's better to bring when no one expects.
So do you feel like this is more of a preparation victory for you guys, more than any kind of special play that you guys have?
Yeah, probably we kind of surprised our opponents, I don't know. Because like Dog is playing Scheme on his rogue, so it will be harder. But most of the other rogues are playing this Mac pack, and against Control Warrior is not that powerful because like we have execute, silence, and this kind of stuff.
Yep.
And more time to deal with it.
So I do have a question. You said this may stir up a lot of drama right now. You said that you suggested Control Warrior. Eddie said that he suggested Control Warrior. Who actually
No way.
suggested Control Warrior?
Well, I don't know. I think I suggested we were all talking about like what to bring, and I sent them what about this with Mechaton side deck because it's good at the mirror, and then Monsanto. Oh, I mean, Eddie was really afraid of bringing Control Warrior because he was almost sure that Frozen was bringing Pogo Rogue.
All right, so one thing's for
Gotcha.
certain, Monsanto definitely didn't suggest Control Warrior. It's still between Eddie and Race. I think I'm going to side with Race here. So
All right.
very nice spot there, Race, for suggesting Control Warrior for you guys to bring this week.
Yeah, and they
Worked out.
they practice together, and I don't find it surprising that Eddie and Monsanto are #1 in division, and Race is #3.
Yep.
3 out of those guys all taking this 3 out of 6 spots.
Yep.
For playoffs. So congratulations, Race. Keep it up, and good luck in your next match day this weekend.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, with that, 3 matches down, 2 to go. The dominance of Control Warrior once again when players aren't expecting it, and that is why I personally believe, TJ, that even though there are a lot of things that people talk about, specialists debating back and forth, one thing that people are not, or that I don't believe are when they say that they can't get an edge in any capacity. And it's like when you're able to bring something that's unconventional and recognize what it's good at, specifically in this instance, that's where its strength really lays. But, I totally understand when other people have reservations about the format. But when it comes to this, I think there are definitely edges to be gained. And I think this is an example, although it's not something that can convince you entirely.
No, not something that can convince you entirely, and it is kind of dependent on having a good read. One thing that Ray's pointed out was a lot of the rogues brought that mech package. And I feel like we've seen so many rogues that have had the potential to counter warriors across the weeks. Because one thing that's been kind of a given in Americas is that players will bring warrior. It's happened every week. There's been some weeks that have been less than others. But it's about finding the right secondary and tertiary deck to beat it. And the scheme deck is the one that has had the most success, like resoundingly the most success. And players are still reluctant to bring it because they think it's inconsistent.
Yep.
But I think the real test will be Dog. He doesn't play against Warrior today, but I think he plays against Warrior in his second match of the week. So we'll see if that is going to be the difference maker, or if the mechs, we just didn't see the full potential of that mech rogue deck in action today. Only time will tell.
All right. Well, we'll find out what ends up happening later this weekend with all of the Control Warriors. But for now, we're going to put a pin on it and go to Nalguidan versus Zalae. So don't go anywhere. Our 4th match here in Week 6, day #1, right after this.